And so back in 98, 99, the dot-com boom was happening. And there was a sort of play, there was a few companies that all flamed in the end, but they were basically buying services businesses on the premise that everything was moving to the cloud. So we didn't call it the cloud back then. And so anyone who was in a services company writing websites got brought. It was awesome. And then the dot-com boom happened and crashed, which was interesting. And I always thought, I hope I'm around when this happened again, and it did, which was cool. So I did that for a year, got my check out after 12 months, and then did a startup out of Boston with some guys I met during that process, and we wrote some patents that we actually sold just recently. And then I kind of had my first failure. We did a document management business, and we kind of saw it'd be good to build an online document management system, but you had to hook into all the Microsoft bits, the file open, file save as dialogues. It was actually technically really hard. And what we realised with that business, we actually sold some work quite early, and so we were able to bootstrap it through some early deals. But we realised that in the document management business, the vendor gets paid last, all the consultants earn their money first, and actually realised that I was on the wrong curve, and this wasn't building a piece of scalable software. So we decided to park that, paid the money back to our first customers, so took some, actually lost some money for the first time. But I was just really aware of the opportunity cost of not doing what I really wanted to do, and the attributes of that business weren't getting me to where I wanted to get to. So we ripped the plaster off, and then actually spent a few weeks in my home office writing a bit of online accounting software. Always wanted to do it, and it felt really good. But at that point, I really wanted to make some money, and accounting software didn't feel like a quick build up and flick into a trade sale. It was something that would take, it was a lot of code to write, and it wasn't the sort of business where you just build up, get a customer base and sell, because I think you have a different relationship with small businesses than selling to large enterprises. So we actually parked the idea of online accounting software. It was me and Hamish who did become my eventual founding partner. And another thing that really bugged me was how broken email was. So we wrote an email archiving solution. And the goal there was not to build a world-class company, it's to build a world-class product. And we ended up selling that to Quest Software for, it was under 18 months from startup that the napkin came across the table at Laguna Beach for 20 million and another 20 of earnout, of which we got nothing of, which was a good lesson. So, and what we'd seen was this playbook of doing trade sales, R&D by, where large companies have to do R&D by acquisition. And we saw this pattern where public companies can buy a private company, say at a revenue multiple of 2 or 3, and then immediately it's worth 6 or 7, so they're going to buy those companies all day. And also they have a sunk cost in their global sales team, so they're always looking for new products to go on the shelf. So once we got up to, about 2 or 3 million of revenue, then we went to the Microsoft Tech Ed show in Florida, and we either were in the business long term and go and do a big VC round, or do a trade sale exit. And that's what we did. So we went to Tech Ed, had a look around, saw the big drops coming from the trade show. Right, okay, it's not those guys, it's not the first row, it's not Microsoft, it's going to be, Quest. And then we did that deal quite quickly, actually. And the coolest thing, the check was nice, but the coolest thing was we won Best Exchange Product at Tech Ed that year, which actually proved, and that was the most important thing, that we could build world-class technology. So I did the earnout, and as we were doing Aftermail, which was a business we sold, as we were doing it, I was very conscious that accounting software would be the next one. And as we were a small business ourselves, trying to get ourselves organised, we were using, MIOFB at the time, and you kind of turn it on, your eyeballs start bleeding, and it was just horrible software. And it was like, there just must be a much better way. So so that's what we did, and rest is history.